Chats with Chad. This week we're going to be diving into what I think every writer is either terrified of or conversely super excited about, and that is advertising. So one of the things that I learned very, very quickly was that you have to be willing to sell yourself, your product in this as much as possible. That means that you've got to learn how to navigate social media. You've got to learn how to interact, try to create opportunities to interact with fans. And then, of course, since I launched my book in February, immediately the idea of trying to get face-to-face interaction with fans was out the window. Thank you, COVID-19. But that means that it kind of shifted. It shifted me to really focus on how to create more advertising and create more things for me to do from my own home that really gets us to the people. And so what I'm going to do today is talk to you about a few of the things that I've done, a few of the different areas that I have explored advertising, and tell you what has worked for me and what has not worked for me. Okay, so that means the first thing that we're going to do is dive into that very thing that you get tons of stuff about, those people promising to publicize your book via email. Okay, so we've all probably gotten those emails that say, we saw your book published, we'd love to be able to help you out with that. For the small fee, will you, be willing to let us have access to your book, and we'll share your book to our X number of followers on social media and our, 50,000 people that are in our newsletter. Now, what I found is that basically listening to other writers and other authors saying, if they email you, if they solicit to you, don't take it. So I have completely ignored those. Now, there are some others that I found that do a similar service, but they are not actively participating and trying to grab you and pull you in. So one of the ones that I found that is a fairly effective tool is indiebookbutler.com. So again, that link will be down here in the profile later on. What they do is that for a fee, what they will do is they will put your information out there on Twitter. They will tweet your ad copy, or they can make their own ad copy of your particular book, and the link to your Amazon or Zoom or whatever account that you have. Inkit, I think, is another one that has book copies out there. So those are some different places they can put it out there. Similar to that is the Self-Publisher Showcase. Those actually are kind of fairly closely, I think, related. Both of them do a very similar service, and they'll post you on Twitter. I believe Indie Book Butler also does Instagram posts, but most of my stuff is on Twitter as well. So most of the two things that they've done, it's good. It gets you out there. It tends to get you some likes, so people become aware of you. But what I will say is that I have not seen them transfer into a great conversion rate. I have not seen a lot of things that really move me from, hey, I know you, I've heard of you, to let me buy your book. So I think they're great for getting you noticed, but they're also a fairly cheap option. I want to say if you do a monthly kind of thing, it's like $30 or $40, all the way up to, I got a couple of deals with, I think it was Self-Publisher Showcase, usually around February or so. They'll do something where they do half price for lifetime membership kind of stuff. So a little bit more expensive, but it's tweets that are going out a lot throughout the year. So keeping you in the know and that kind of stuff. So the second one that I want to talk about is the idea of Facebook marketing, Facebook ads. I have found Facebook ads to be very, very, very good at collecting followers. I have gotten numerous follows and likes to my Facebook page from doing Facebook advertising. Does it translate necessarily into people buying my books? I have not seen that translation necessarily. That conversion thing, again, is not happening so much there. Now, what I do find to be effective about this is that it does build that audience. It does build people who are looking into my content, who are seeing the things that I'm posting on Facebook. I do highly recommend it. And if you can ever get free ad copy on Facebook, I actually sat with them and did a business model kind of thing. Took about 45 minutes to sit with somebody on the phone from Facebook, and I got $200 worth of free advertising. And I've only used about $75 of that. So I'm kind of waiting until book 2 rolls out here pretty soon. But use whatever funding you can get. If you can find a deal, do it. Now, what I want to talk to you guys about is the idea of ad copy that you create yourself on your social media. So there's a couple of apps that I use to really play with some graphic design, and it's very basic. I am not a graphic designer by any means, but it's fun. So it's been kind of a hobby, a side hobby that I've enjoyed doing. So this is the original picture after FaceApp has gotten a hold of it. Obviously, that's a younger version of me. And as you can see, that's the background that I don't want, which is my house in the background. So in the second picture, what you can see is how the process works. So in BizArt, you can just take your finger and erase with the erase tool. And then the third picture here, you can see that it gets super close. You can actually look closely to where it is connected to, so you don't have any gaps or any spaces in between where you can see the background. When you're done eliminating everything, this is what it looks like. You've got this dotted background, and essentially what you have is you have a puzzle piece you can drop on any background that you want. In this particular case, I dropped in a beautiful sunset from my house the other day in the background, and you can see kind of where that goes. Now, that's just the straight picture. Then we go over to Instantune. And so in Instantune, there's several different things you can do. And then this one is your first option. You can see it there. It's what's called Super Tune. And it gives you some really vibrant colors, and it looks very cartoony in that respect, but also at the same time kind of realistic. Then you can shift it over to the next thing, which is the oil painting. In the oil painting, there's several filters you can use that can give you a lighter texture. It can go a little bit darker, and then it can also go into a hyper real. And then the last one that we'll talk about here is the cartoon version, or excuse me, the comics version, which again is very pixelated and looks like the old school comic books, and so kind of gives you a neat effect that you can use there. There is also a sketch if you want a black and white version of it, which is kind of a cool thing to go, but I've never actually used that on anything. Again, you can see all these apps, Instantune, BizArt, and FaceApp. These are all available in the App Store or on, I believe, Google Store as well. Okay, so the next thing is something that lots of people tell you to do. And again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one because other people have told you great ways to do this. But if you are in Amazon Kindle Direct publishing, Kindle Direct publishing on Amazon, that means that you then have the option of choosing something called Kindle Select and or Kindle Unlimited, putting your book up for Kindle Unlimited. If you do that, you are given 5 days throughout the course of your term, which is about 3 months, that you can choose to either do a free book giveaway, which is, you don't make any money, but again, it gets your book in the hands of other people, especially if you're a first-time author. Or you have 5 days where you can do a Kindle countdown deal. Now, my books start out at $3.99 for the Kindle version. This does not apply to paperbacks. This is only the Kindle version, by the way. So my books start at $3.99. I have the option of doing a countdown deal where I could say I'm going to set it for 2 days at $1.99 and then 3 days at 99 cents. And I can do that. Or I could just do all the days at 99 cents. What's great about this is that it helps you to get your book freer if you want to do free, or a lot cheaper if you want to do that. You're not going to make as much money as selling it full price, but you're getting more copies out there. That will help you with a couple of different ranks on the Amazon ranking. Super quick way to rise. But if you want to do free or you want to do reduced price, you really need to pair that with advertising, either one of the things that I've already talked about or the one that has been the most effective for me to move copy and move book. And so I'm going to talk about that one next. Okay, so the next one that I've done is something called Book Doggy. I found it on a couple of sites. People said it was a really good deal. I got in, I put my book up for free, and for 24 hours, my book was on their site. Went out to their newsletter, and I sold for free in 2 days' time over 500 free copies of the book. For a first-time author, I felt that was pretty good, and especially like with my copy or my book being in a kind of a niche, I thought that was a really good deal. Book Doggy, you can do it, and I think you have to wait 120 days, a full 3 months before you can do it again with that book. And it's a relatively cheap price. It's not that expensive. It's only, I want to say $20 or $30 to do it. It is well worth the money. I'm actually going to be doing it again here probably in late June. I'm going to do actually the 99-cent countdown with it, with Book Doggy, and see if it translates as well from free as it does to lower price. But definitely recommend Book Doggy. An amazing, amazing guy to work with. He was super cool, worked me in really, really fast. highly recommend that one. The last one I want to talk about is one that I have not done yet, but it starts tomorrow, June 1st. I will be doing my first ever blog tour. So I kind of want to come back and talk to you guys about how I think it went and how things, transgress with that and all that kind of stuff. But I'm doing it with RABT book tours, and it starts tomorrow. So be looking for tons and tons of social media stuff. So I know I'm doing an interview with one of the sites, and basically what they'll do is they'll send my book around to various websites, various blogs in the genre that you select, and they will review it. Some of them do an interview. Like I said, one of them is doing an interview. Some of them will do free book giveaways to raise awareness. So I'm super excited to see how this is going. So far, RABT has been a great one. Other ones that I've looked into are Espresso Tours, and they seem to be very similar to RABT, maybe a little bit bigger audience than them. And then there's others as well that you can find good websites for. And I think booksirens.com is a place that can kind of help you find some places that do book tours. So that's it for today. I really thank you guys for popping in and taking a look at some of the my ideas and some of my experiences with what to do and what not to do when it comes to advertising. And I'll probably do some more of these as I do a little bit more advertising and get things done. Check us out next time. Most likely we'll either talk about, I'm not really sure because it's kind of flying by the seat of my pants on this one. We're either going to talk about how to select your genre, which I found to be way more difficult than I thought it was, or we're going to be talking a little bit more about advertising on the back end of how the book tour went, the blog tour went. So that's all for today. Hope you guys have enjoyed Chats with Chad, episode 3. We'll see you next time.